Beloved, chosen one. Pause right here. Yes, this very instant. Heaven has interrupted your scroll for a reason. This is not coincidence, not random timing, not another piece of content passing through your feed. This is heaven trying one more time. The entire universe has conspired to bring your eyes to these words, because the divine refuses to let you drift any further. You have carried questions in your soul. Why me? Why now? Why does it hurt so much to be different? But this is the moment when the answers begin to unfold. You are not ordinary. You were never meant to blend in. From the very beginning, heaven marked you as one of the ones who would awaken others. Every storm, every heartbreak, every season of confusion was shaping you into the vessel you were born to become. You felt that inner tug, the one that doesn't leave you alone at night. You felt the whisper in the silence, the ache that no distraction can erase. That's not anxiety, that's calling. It's heaven's way of reminding you that your purpose is greater than your pain. For too long, you've mistaken delay for denial. You thought God forgot you, when, in truth, He was preparing you for a weight of glory you couldn't yet carry. Hear this now, heaven has not given up on you. Mercy is still reaching. Grace is still moving. The angels assigned to your life have not withdrawn their posts. Even when you tried to walk away, even when rebellion whispered louder than prayer, heaven kept watch over you. And now, this message breaks through the noise to remind you it's not too late. Every time you ignored that still, small voice, heaven waited. But the waiting is ending. The season is shifting. The call is being repeated one more time. And this time, it carries the weight of finality. You are being invited to align before the door closes. Not out of fear, but out of love. The Spirit is saying, I'm not asking for perfection. I'm asking for surrender. Think of the battles you've survived, the nights you cried without answers, the moments when you were certain you'd fall apart. Yet somehow, you didn't. You rose again. You spoke hope when you felt empty. That's because heaven placed endurance in your spirit that cannot be stolen. You're still here because your story isn't finished yet. Heaven whispers now, through sacred memory, don't resist. You've resisted before out of fear, out of doubt, out of the desire to stay comfortable. But this time, obedience will cost you less than disobedience ever will. There's something waiting on the other side of your yes, something you can't see yet, but your spirit already recognizes. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Jeremiah, chapter 29, verse 11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. These words are not ancient history, they are your prophecy. Heaven still has plans for you, not plans of chaos or despair, but of restoration and destiny. You thought your mistakes disqualified you, but they only positioned you to understand grace more deeply. What you lost was not punishment, it was preparation. The moments that broke you were never meant to destroy you, they were divine chisels shaping your purpose. Each tear watered the soil of your destiny. Each rejection redirected you toward divine connection. What felt like endings were simply holy beginnings disguised as pain, waiting for your awakening. You are stepping into a sacred exchange, where brokenness becomes beauty and loss becomes legacy. Heaven wastes nothing, not even your suffering. Every scar on your soul now shines as proof of survival, evidence of divine mercy. You are stronger, wiser, and more radiant than you've ever been before. And maybe this is what heaven wants you to grasp right now. The silence was not absence. The waiting was not rejection. It was protection. God was building strength within you that no storm could destroy. He was teaching you to recognize His voice, even in the middle of uncertainty and delay. Every unanswered prayer was a seed waiting to bloom in a different season. The doors that closed were not rejections, they were redirections. You were not being punished, you were being refined, shaped, and hidden until the right moment arrived. And, beloved, that moment is now unfolding before your eyes. So rise again, lift your spirit, let the shame, the fear, and the hesitation fall away like old garments. You are stepping into alignment with heaven's plan. The heavens are watching. The angels are rejoicing. And destiny is calling your name. This is your confirmation your time is here. Now, if these words are piercing through the fog and stirring your heart, don't stay silent. Let heaven see your response. Like, share, and subscribe to remain under this divine flow. Then, comment 777 below as a prophetic act, your declaration that you will no longer resist the voice calling you home. Heaven is trying one more time. Will you listen? You have wondered why everything in your life seemed to take the long way around, why blessings seemed delayed, why prayers felt unanswered, why others moved forward while you stood still. But chosen one, heaven wants you to understand something sacred. Tonight, your waiting was never wasted. Every moment of delay was a divine classroom, and every unanswered prayer was an invitation to trust. You see, the weight of waiting was not a punishment, it was preparation. Heaven was not trying to break you. Heaven was teaching you endurance, maturity, and faith that doesn't depend on feelings. You were learning to stand even when you couldn't see. You were being trained to hear the still, small voice of God amid silence and storms alike. The wilderness you walked through was never meant to destroy you, it was meant to develop you. There were times you begged heaven for answers, but heaven gave you quiet instead. In that quiet, you discovered the shape of your own heart. You learned which voices you could live without and which truth you could not ignore. You began to see that divine timing is not slow, it is sacred. Heaven's pace is not hesitation, it's precision. Every delay was aligned to protect you from premature exposure, from doors that looked good but would have drained your soul. Sometimes, waiting feels like being forgotten, but heaven says, I never forgot you. Your name has been written in light since before the world began. While you were crying over closed doors, heaven was opening unseen ones. While you were mourning what ended, heaven was writing what's next. What looked like a pause was actually positioning. What felt like silence was divine strategy. You thought the waiting meant you were behind, but heaven says you were being aligned. The world moves fast, but heaven builds eternal things slowly. The treasures being formed within you, wisdom, peace, spiritual discernment take time. Rushing would have cost you clarity. Impatience would have birthed imitation instead of authenticity. Heaven was never late. It was right on time. Think back to the prayers that didn't get answered the way you wanted. Some of them, if granted, would have become your prison. Some people you lost were never meant to walk with you into destiny. Some opportunities you missed were protection in disguise. What you thought was rejection was actually redirection, a hand of mercy pulling you from traps you couldn't see. The longer you waited, the more heaven shaped your sensitivity. You began to feel what others couldn't, to see beyond surface blessings, to crave what truly matters. The waiting purified your appetite. It shifted your desires from comfort to calling, from success to surrender. It taught you to want God, not just His gifts. And now, chosen one, the fog is lifting. You are beginning to see that waiting was never about loss, it was about layering. Every delay added something eternal to your spirit perspective. Gratitude, humility, strength. You are no longer who you were when the waiting began. You are wiser, calmer, more stable, more dangerous to darkness than ever before. The ancient words recorded in Romans chapter 8, verse 28, "And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love Him, who have been called according to His purpose." This truth is the anthem of your waiting season. Every twist, every disappointment, every delay was woven into a tapestry of divine intention. Nothing was wasted, not the heartbreak, not the silence, not the lonely nights when heaven seemed far. All of it was working together for your good. The weight of waiting has made you dangerous to darkness. You have developed a kind of quiet strength that can't be shaken by disappointment anymore. You've learned to bow instead of break, to pray instead of panic. Your resilience is now your weapon, your patience, your crown. Understand this: those who learn to wait on heaven are the ones trusted with eternal things. The impatient chase opportunities, the chosen steward assignments. You are stepping into a season where what once felt delayed will suddenly make sense. Heaven is bringing clarity, and every tear you cried in confusion will soon return as joy and understanding. Waiting built you for this moment. Heaven had to hold you back until you could carry what's coming. Now, the same stillness that once frustrated you has become your strength. The silence that once scared you has become your sanctuary. You are no longer afraid of pauses. You see their power. You've learned that destiny doesn't rush, it roots. So walk forward now, steady and assured. You may still not see everything clearly, but you know who walks beside you. Heaven's promises never expire, they mature. And the waiting season was proof that you were trusted, not forgotten. The clock of heaven never runs late, and your time is approaching with divine precision. Hold this truth close to your heart: the wait was worth it. The process was preparation, and every second heaven seemed silent. Heaven was sculpting your soul into the image of strength, grace, and glory. Chosen one, there comes a moment when revelation breaks through hesitation, when the light within you becomes impossible to silence. This is that moment. The veil begins to lift, and heaven starts to reveal the truth you were marked before birth. The proof of divine selection has always been hidden inside the very battles that tried to break you. Since the beginning of time, your name has been known in the courts of heaven. You were chosen long before you could choose Him. Before your first breath, purpose was whispered over your life. And though the world tried to bury that purpose under rejection, fear, and failure, the mark remained. You could never fully blend in because your spirit was never meant to belong to this world. Every challenge you faced, every season of isolation, every moment when you wondered if you mattered, heaven was shaping a warrior. What you thought were random attacks were actually confirmations that you carry something the darkness fears. The enemy does not fight those who are empty. He only wars against those who are carrying promise. That's why your struggle has been so intense, because your calling is extraordinary. Beloved, the pain that shaped you was prophetic. It was heaven's forge, not hell's curse. You've been refined like gold, purified through fire. And though the flames burned, they revealed your true identity. You are not defined by what happened to you. You are defined by what survived within you. The light inside you was never extinguished. It only grew stronger, waiting for the right moment to shine. There were times you doubted yourself, questioned your worth, wondered if God made a mistake. But heaven makes no errors. Every piece of your story, even the broken parts, fits into divine intention. You were always meant to walk this road, not as punishment, but as preparation. You are a living testimony that the chosen are not perfect. They are persistent. They fall. They bleed. They rise again, and through it all, they reflect the glory of the one who called them. The apostle reminds us in his letter to the Ephesians, chapter 2, verse 10, "For we are God's masterpiece, created in Christ Jesus to do good works, which God prepared in advance for us to do." Let those words echo deep within you. You are a masterpiece, not a mistake. Every detail of your existence carries design. The same God who placed stars in the sky placed destiny in your spirit. Your steps have been ordered. Even the detours were divinely used to bring you back into alignment. So, chosen one, stop disqualifying yourself from what heaven already approved. Stop comparing your progress to those who were never called to carry what you carry. You were never meant to keep pace with the world. You were meant to walk to the rhythm of heaven. Every delay, every heartbreak, every unanswered question has been preparation for this revelation. You were set apart. Now the call becomes clear. Heaven isn't asking you to earn the title of chosen. Heaven is asking you to live like it. Live with boldness, with holiness, with conviction that what's within you is greater than what's against you. The same Spirit that raised Jesus from the dead resides in you. How could you ever believe you are ordinary? There is power in knowing who you are. Once you truly believe that you were chosen, fear begins to lose its grip. You stop chasing validation because you already have divine approval. You stop begging for acceptance because heaven already called your name. You become a mirror reflecting light, carrying peace, disrupting darkness simply by standing in truth. When you know you are chosen, you stop running from responsibility and start embracing destiny. You begin to see your pain as purpose, your scars as symbols of survival. You understand that what you carry is not just for you, it's for others who are still asleep in confusion, waiting for someone like you to remind them that they are chosen too. So here, in this sacred moment, heaven asks for one simple act. In the comments, type "I am chosen." This isn't just a phrase, it's a declaration. It's you agreeing with heaven's verdict. It's you stepping out of fear and stepping into identity. When you write it, you're not just typing words, you're sealing truth. You're telling darkness, you cannot lie to me anymore. Because you are chosen, you are set apart. You are a carrier of light in a world starving for hope. Heaven has invested too much in you to let you live small. You were designed to move mountains with faith, to bring healing where there is pain, to stand firm when others crumble. This is your reminder, your awakening, your divine confirmation. You were known before time began, loved beyond measure, and destined for greatness that glorifies God. The mark of heaven on your life cannot be erased, no matter what's been done against you. So walk boldly now, chosen one. Don't question your worth another day. Heaven has spoken, and your destiny is sealed. You are not behind, you are right on time, and every breath you take from this moment forward is proof that purpose still burns inside you. You are chosen, called, and covered. Never forget it. Chosen one. The moment you decided to rise, the battle around you intensified. That is no accident. The war you are facing is not about your possessions, your relationships, or your comfort. It is about your obedience. The enemy does not fear your talent, your influence, or your voice. He fears your yes. Because one act of obedience from a chosen soul can shift generations. This is the war for your surrender. Every distraction, every temptation, every delay has been designed to pull you away from alignment. The enemy cannot steal your calling, but he will try to dull your conviction. He whispers to you that your efforts don't matter, that no one sees your faithfulness, that it would be easier to quit. Yet heaven watches in silence as you fight to stay faithful, knowing that each small act of obedience shakes the unseen realms. You must understand what your yes represents. When you obey, heaven advances. Every decision to forgive, to pray, to wait, to believe when nothing makes sense, these are spiritual detonations. They break chains that have existed for generations. Your yes is not just about you, it is about every soul connected to your destiny. That's why obedience often feels heavy. It carries eternal weight. There were seasons when you obeyed, and it seemed like nothing changed. But heaven saw every hidden act of faith, every quiet surrender, every silent "I trust you" became incense before the throne. You thought you were being overlooked, but you were being recorded. Heaven documents faith in silence, and the time is coming when that record will speak for you. Many underestimate the power of obedience because they equate it with control. But true obedience isn't submission to rules, it's alignment with love. When God calls you to let go, He's not punishing you, He's protecting you. When He delays something, He's not denying you, He's developing you. Every instruction from heaven carries life, even when it feels like loss. Look back at the moments you resisted divine direction, the times you insisted on your own way, the times you tried to force doors open. Did peace ever follow? Disobedience always brings disturbance, even when the surface looks fine. But the instant you return to obedience, peace flows like a river again. The war quiets, the spirit rests. Heaven is not after robotic compliance, it's after relationship. True obedience grows from trust, and trust grows from love. You cannot fully obey a God you don't believe loves you. But once you realize that His commands are invitations, not restrictions, your heart begins to follow Him freely. That's when obedience becomes joy. The voice of God thundered in the book of Exodus, chapter 19, verse 5. Now, if you obey me fully and keep my covenant, then out of all nations you will be my treasured possession, although the whole earth is mine. This truth still stands. Heaven treasures obedience not because it proves worthiness, but because it reveals connection. Every act of obedience declares, I trust you more than I trust myself. It's the highest form of worship, because it costs your will. It demands your surrender in exchange for divine alignment. Chosen one, your obedience is rewriting stories you cannot yet see. It's breaking cycles of fear and rebellion that ran through generations before you. It's restoring honor where shame once ruled. You think you're just obeying quietly, but in the spirit, you are rebuilding foundations. You are repairing breaches left open by those who came before you. And yes, obedience often feels lonely. It separates you from the crowd because most people would rather follow comfort than conviction. But heaven walks closely with those who obey, while others chase approval. You walk in divine assurance, while others depend on results. You rest in revelation. There will be moments when obedience costs you everything familiar. Friendships may fade. Opportunities may vanish. You may even face misunderstanding from those who love you. But heaven never wastes a sacrifice made in obedience. What you release now will return multiplied later, purified by divine hands. And when the enemy tries to intimidate you, remember, his greatest weapon is distraction. He cannot undo your calling, but he can convince you to delay it. That's why obedience must be immediate. The longer you hesitate, the louder the confusion becomes. But when you act in faith, clarity returns. So, stay steadfast. Obedience is not glamorous, but it is glorious. It may not win applause, but it wins heaven's attention. It doesn't always bring instant reward, but it always births eternal fruit. Every time you say yes, you align earth with heaven's will. And that, beloved, is how revolutions begin, not through noise, but through obedience. Your war is not against people. It's against resistance, the silent pull that tries to keep you from your divine instructions. Defeat it by remembering why you fight. You're not fighting for control, you're fighting for alignment. You're not striving for perfection, you're striving for purity of heart. This is the war for your obedience, and heaven is cheering for you to win it. Stay anchored, stay humble, stay surrendered. For in the end, the ones who obey are the ones who overcome. Chosen one, when heaven begins to call you into alignment, everything around you starts to shift. It's like the tide changing direction, quiet at first, almost unnoticeable, and then suddenly powerful enough to move entire shores. You are standing in that tide right now. Heaven is inviting you to flow again, to stop resisting what was always meant to be your rhythm. Alignment is not about perfection, it's about direction. You may still stumble, still question, still cry, but your heart is turning toward heaven again. That's where transformation begins. Heaven isn't asking you to have it all figured out. Heaven is asking you to return, to listen, to trust. The moment you say yes, the current starts to carry you home. Think of it like a compass finding north after years of spinning. The noise quiets, the fog clears, and something deep inside you finally points true again. That's what happens when you align with heaven's flow. Clarity replaces chaos, peace replaces striving, and purpose replaces confusion. Alignment doesn't remove every storm, but it gives you direction through it. Beloved, you have wandered long enough in circles. Heaven is calling you to straighten the path again. You are not lost, you are being recalibrated. The delays, the detours, the heartbreaks, they were all gentle corrections to lead you back to the coordinates of destiny. And now, heaven is whispering, walk with me. Not ahead, not behind, with me. You might be wondering how to know if you're aligned. The answer is simple. Alignment always brings peace, even when it brings change. When you're aligned, your spirit hums quietly with assurance. You no longer fight every door that closes, because you trust the one who opens them. You stop forcing outcomes and begin flowing in obedience. We are reminded through the writings of David in the Psalms. Chapter 37, verse 23. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delights in his way. Every step you've taken, even the missteps, has been guided toward redemption. Heaven delights in your progress, not in your perfection. The path may wind, but it always leads home. And as you walk, something sacred happens. Your footsteps begin to leave light for others who are still lost in the dark. Chosen one, if this word is speaking to your heart, take a deep breath and let gratitude rise. Because alignment is not just about personal destiny, it's about impact. When your spirit aligns, your influence multiplies. Your obedience becomes a ripple that touches lives you may never meet. Sometimes a single act of faith, a single word of truth, a single prayer whispered in secret can spark revival in someone else's soul. That is the hidden power of divine alignment. You are like a lighthouse standing on a cliff. The storms may rage, the winds may howl, but your light remains steady, guiding others home. That light costs you something. It costs time, tears, discipline, but every flicker is worth it, because heaven uses your endurance as illumination for others. And yes, even in this sacred digital space, your light can reach further than you think. Every like, every share, every comment becomes a small reflection of faith, a way of echoing heaven's message into corners you'll never see. When you share truth, you participate in its spreading. When you support what carries light, you strengthen the signal that wakes others up. So, if this message has stirred something inside you, if it feels like your spirit is finally remembering its true direction, consider this: the flow you feel right now is sacred. Stay connected to it. Subscribe, not for content, but for continuity, so the stream of revelation doesn't end here. Share this message, not for numbers, but for nourishment, because someone out there is waiting for a word that will bring them back to life. And if you feel led, support the message like planting a seed in fertile soil. Every act of giving, every small offering, helps the light reach further, touching hearts that are still hidden in shadows. Think of it not as donation, but as participation, becoming part of the voice heaven uses to awaken its people. You are not just a listener, you are a carrier of light. What you do with what you receive determines how far that light travels. Heaven is aligning not only your heart but your influence, your time, your resources, your reach. Every action rooted in obedience becomes an echo in eternity. So, walk in alignment today, with your heart steady, your spirit open, and your eyes lifted toward heaven's horizon. Trust that even small steps are sacred when guided by divine direction. The compass has pointed north again. Now, it's time to move forward with grace. And as you go, remember this truth: alignment is not a destination, it's a lifestyle. It's the daily choosing to stay in rhythm with heaven, even when the world pulls you elsewhere. It's the quiet surrender that says, "Not my will, but yours." That is where peace lives. That is where purpose grows. That is where destiny breathes. Heaven is delighted. Chosen one, you are finding your flow again. Chosen one. There is a pull you cannot ignore anymore, the gentle but unrelenting tug inside your chest that keeps whispering, "Come back home." You have felt it in quiet moments when the world grew still, when no one was watching, when your heart began to ache for something more than comfort or success. That pull is not pressure, it is presence. It is heaven calling you back into rhythm with your original design. You've tried to fill that space before with busyness, with distraction, with temporary peace, but nothing lasts, because what's missing isn't earthly. It's divine. The ache you feel isn't weakness, it's proof that your spirit still remembers heaven. The pull is God's way of reminding you that you were made for more than survival, more than appearances, more than mere existence. This is not condemnation, it's invitation. The Creator is saying, "I haven't forgotten you. I'm still calling your name." Every whisper of conviction, every stirring of conscience, every small spark of longing inside you is heaven's heartbeat reaching for yours. You've ignored it before, but this time, don't resist. You're not being dragged, you're being drawn. Don't mistake that divine tension for discomfort. It's guidance. Heaven isn't punishing you for straying, heaven is positioning you for return. The pull you feel right now means grace is still active over your life. It means heaven still believes you can come back stronger, deeper, more faithful. The presence you sense around you as you read these words isn't imagination, it's divine nearness. Heaven is close enough to touch. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Hosea, chapter 14, verse 4, "I will heal their backsliding, I will love them freely, for my anger has turned away from them." Let that promise wash over you. Heaven isn't keeping score, heaven is offering healing. God isn't asking for perfection, He's offering restoration. You haven't wandered too far, and it's not too late to return. Even the prodigal's steps away from home became the same road back. And right now, heaven is tracing a path from your heart straight to redemption. Sometimes the pull feels like pressure because it stretches the parts of you that grew comfortable in complacency. But God never stretches you to break you. He stretches you to restore shape to what's been deflated by disappointment. The calling doesn't fade just because you paused. The anointing doesn't disappear just because you drifted. It waits. It whispers. It woos. The truth is, the longer you ignore the pull, the heavier life begins to feel. Because when you walk away from purpose, you start carrying what was never yours to hold. But the moment you surrender, truly surrender, the weight lifts. That is the secret heaven is trying to reveal. Resistance creates heaviness, surrender releases it. Beloved, this is not another random message. This is heaven timing its words to meet you exactly where you are, on the edge between resistance and return. And heaven's plea is simple: don't resist this time. Don't silence that voice in your spirit. You've run enough circles trying to make peace without presence. Let this be the moment you stop fighting the pull and start flowing with it. You might say, "But I've failed too many times." Yet heaven answers, "And still, I'm calling you." The pull is proof that you're not disqualified. If grace were done with you, conviction would be gone. The fact that your heart still softens when truth touches it means heaven is still reaching. You haven't gone too far, you've just gone long enough. It's time to turn around. Every great comeback begins with surrender. Not dramatic speeches, not promises to do better, just the quiet confession, I need you again. And when you whisper those words, heaven moves. The atmosphere around you begins to shift because angels rejoice when even one heart returns home. The light grows stronger, the darkness weaker, and your spirit starts to breathe again. This is what heaven wants from you, not perfection, but participation. Don't analyze it. Don't delay it. Don't drown it out. Just respond, and let that response be prophetic, physical, tangible. In the comments, type 888, a divine number of new beginnings and infinite grace. Do it as a symbol, as a small act of faith that says, I'm done resisting. I'm stepping into renewal. When you type it, you're not just pressing keys, you're pressing through the walls of hesitation. You're marking the moment heaven called and you answered. Let it be your covenant of return, a visible echo of an invisible shift. And once you've done that, sit quietly for a moment. Let peace fill the space where resistance used to live. Feel how the air changes when your spirit aligns again. The pull is no longer a burden, it becomes a compass. What was once pressure turns into presence. Chosen one. Heaven's hand has not let go of you. This message is not a warning, it's a rescue. The pull you feel is love, relentless and unyielding, refusing to let you slip away. Surrender to it, and watch everything begin to make sense again. You are not too late. You are not too far. You are not forgotten. You are being pulled back into purpose, back into alignment, back into divine flow. This is your moment. Let heaven have your yes. Chosen one. There are seasons in life when heaven seems silent. You pray, and no answer comes. You seek, and it feels like the heavens are closed. You cry out for direction, but the silence echoes louder than any response. In those moments, doubt begins to whisper, maybe God has left you. Yet the truth is far more mysterious, and beautiful silence is not abandonment, it is preparation. Heaven's silence is never empty. It is filled with invisible movement, with strategies unfolding beyond your understanding. When heaven seems quiet, it is not because you've been forgotten, but because something is being formed inside you that words cannot yet explain. The silence is the space between the planting and the harvest, between the promise and its performance. You have been through this sacred stillness. You've looked up at the ceiling in the dark and whispered, God, are you still here? You've wondered if your prayers ever left the room. But what you didn't see was that heaven was working underneath the soil of your life. Just because you couldn't hear the gardener doesn't mean he stopped tending the garden. When God hides himself, it's not rejection, it's refinement. The greatest treasures of the Spirit are formed when nothing seems to be happening. Think of the seed beneath the earth. It lies unseen for a season, in darkness and pressure. Yet that unseen growth is the most crucial stage of all. Without it, there can be no fruit. Heaven often works the same way in silence, in secrecy, in stillness. During your quiet seasons, your discernment has been sharpened. You've learned to hear subtle shifts, to recognize his presence not in thunder but in whisper. You've matured from needing signs to recognizing his signature. This growth could not have happened in noise, it needed the silence of sacred waiting. Sometimes, Silence is heaven's way of testing where your trust truly rests. Do you trust in results? Or in relationship, do you believe because you can hear? Or because you know He is faithful even when He's quiet? Silence exposes dependency. It reveals whether your faith is built on feelings or on truth. The world tells you that silence is absence. But heaven teaches that silence is intimacy. Lovers do not always need words to communicate. Their very presence is enough. Likewise, in your still seasons, heaven has been sitting quietly beside you, teaching you to sense divine nearness without needing proof. As the prophet wrote in the scroll of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3, "For the vision is yet for an appointed time, though it tarry. Wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not delay." These words remind you that silence does not mean denial, it means timing. The appointed moment hasn't arrived yet, but it is on its way. You are being refined to carry what you asked for. Heaven's answer is certain, even if it's not yet visible. You've been living in the not yet. And that is sacred territory where faith grows roots deep enough to anchor miracles. There's something holy about unanswered prayers. They stretch your capacity for trust, teaching you to love God for who He is, not just for what He does. They train your heart to wait without wavering. And when the answer finally comes, you'll recognize that the silence was the sound of preparation. Do you remember the seasons when you felt forsaken, but later realized it was the very silence that built your strength? Heaven was shaping you quietly. Every tear became oil. Every unanswered question became wisdom. Every moment of waiting carved out space for the greater weight of glory that's about to rest on your life. Silence also teaches humility. It strips away the illusion that you control the process. You begin to understand that your story unfolds according to divine rhythm, not human schedule. That humility doesn't weaken you, it positions you. It prepares your heart to receive without pride and to walk with reverence once the blessing arrives. Heaven's silence is never punishment, it's promotion in disguise. The teacher is always silent during the test, but that doesn't mean the teacher has left the room. The silence proves you're being tested for advancement. When you pass, the sound of new instruction will come again, but this time, it will meet a wiser, stronger, more grounded version of you. So don't despise these quiet seasons. Let them deepen you. Let them purify your motives, refine your intentions, and train your spirit to hear whispers others ignore. One day, you'll thank heaven for the silence, because it taught you to listen differently. It birthed in you a peace that doesn't depend on sound, a faith that doesn't depend on proof. Beloved, heaven has not gone silent, it's simply tuning your frequency. You are being aligned to hear a higher wavelength, one that cannot be detected through noise or fear. When heaven speaks again, you will recognize the voice immediately because you have learned its rhythm in the stillness. Hold steady. Keep walking. Even the quiet paths are sacred when heaven walks beside you. Chosen one. There comes a moment when mercy begins to step back, not because it has run out, but because heaven is trying to awaken what complacency has numbed. You have felt that shift before the sudden weight in your spirit, the uneasy silence that no distraction can drown out. It isn't anger, it's warning wrapped in love. Heaven's patience is vast, but it is not passive. When mercy pauses, it is heaven saying, "You cannot keep living like this and still expect light to stay." There are thresholds in the spirit lines between grace that redeems and choices that resist redemption. Heaven's mercy reaches across those lines again and again. But there comes a moment when love must let you feel the gravity of your disobedience. That is not cruelty. It is compassion in its most honest form. It is a wake-up call before the soul drifts too far from the sound of truth. You've seen this in your own life. There were seasons when you felt grace flowing like a river, doors opened easily. Prayers found quick answers. Peace lingered even in chaos. Then something changed. The current slowed. The sweetness of presence faded. You felt like heaven took a step away. That was mercy pulling back its covering, allowing you to see what life feels like when you try to walk without it. It hurts, but it heals, because that emptiness exposes dependency. It reveals what you've been trusting more than God, your strength, your plans, your pride. When mercy pauses, it's not ending relationship, it's inviting repentance. It's the Father letting you feel the distance so you'll turn and run home. Heaven speaks through the prophet Isaiah. Chapter 55, verse 7, "Let the wicked forsake their ways, and the unrighteous their thoughts. Let them return to the Lord, and he will have mercy on them, and to our God, for he will abundantly pardon." Abundant pardon, that is the language of heaven. Even when mercy withdraws its hand for a moment, it never closes the door. It waits for movement, for the smallest turn of your heart back toward truth. One sincere "forgive me" reopens the floodgates. One honest confession shatters the distance. That is how generous divine mercy truly is. It steps back only to give you space to step forward. But here lies the danger when hearts grow accustomed to distance. They begin to mistake numbness for peace. You stop feeling conviction, and that absence becomes its own comfort. The enemy loves that silence, because it convinces you that nothing is wrong. Yet numbness is not healing. It is the final symptom before spiritual death. That's why heaven intervenes, not to shame, but to shock the soul back to sensitivity. If you have felt that holy discomfort lately, don't ignore it. It is heaven trying to save you from blindness. Mercy is not gone. It is calling louder than before. The ache in your chest is not condemnation, it's resurrection beginning. The shaking in your spirit is heaven stirring sleeping parts of your soul. Remember, this conviction is not God's anger, it's his affection. He disciplines those he loves because he refuses to let them self-destruct. When mercy pauses, it is never to punish, it is to protect what's still pure inside you. Every warning is a wall between you and destruction, built by the same hands that once carried you through storms. Think of a parent who lets go of a child's hand for just a moment, not to abandon, but to teach awareness. The child suddenly senses danger, looks back, and runs into the safety of those arms again. That is what heaven is doing with you now. The pause in mercy is not distance, it's direction. It teaches you the difference between safety and wandering, between surrender and pride. And when you return, and you will, the reunion will be unlike anything before. You will find mercy waiting, smiling, saying, "Now you understand why I pulled back." You will love deeper because you've learned the cost of distance. You will obey quicker because you've felt the pain of resistance. You will walk humbler because you've seen how fragile strength can be without grace. Beloved, this is the sacred cycle of redemption. Mercy reaches, patience waits, conviction whispers, and the soul awakens. Each pause, Each silence, each stirring is heaven refusing to give up on you. Don't see it as rejection, see it as relentless love taking another form. There may still be shadows around you, but even they serve a purpose. They reveal where the light used to shine and where it will shine again. Every warning from heaven carries hope inside it, the promise that transformation is still possible. The hands that withheld comfort are the same hands ready to restore it once you turn. So listen closely to the pulse of your spirit right now. If there's a flicker of conviction, if there's even a whisper of longing for holiness, respond. That's mercy moving again. That's grace returning. Heaven is not done with you. It never was. You are being invited to walk back into the light, to live as one who knows what mercy feels like when it pauses, and how beautiful it is when it returns. Chosen one, you have felt it again and again, the noise around you growing louder, the opinions of others clouding your peace, the subtle whispers trying to pull you away from what heaven spoke over your life. These are not just distractions, they are distortions. The enemy rarely attacks with fire when he can use a whisper. He knows he doesn't have to destroy you if he can just make you doubt what God already said. You've heard those voices before, haven't you? The ones that say, "You're not ready," or "You're imagining things," or "If this were really from God, it would be easier." But that is not truth speaking, it's fear wearing the mask of reason. Heaven's voice never shames, it steadies. Heaven's words never confuse, they clarify. Anything that robs your peace and poisons your purpose does not come from the light. There is a war in the air, and it's fought through words. Words shape thoughts. Thoughts shape decisions, and decisions shape destiny. That is why the enemy attacks your mind first, because if he can plant one lie deep enough, it will grow into self-sabotage. You begin to silence yourself, doubt your calling, or even question God's goodness. But chosen one, heaven is cutting through that static right now, reminding you you are still anointed, still appointed, still chosen. Heaven's instruction for you in this season is simple: guard your ears. You can't control every voice that speaks, but you can decide which one you feed. Stop giving attention to confusion. Every time you entertain lies, you empower them. The battlefield is not out there, it's between your thoughts and truth. The Apostle Paul wrote to the believers in the second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 10, verse 5, "We demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God, and we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ." This is how you win the war of voices, by refusing to let falsehoods become foundations. You silence lies by speaking truth louder. When doubt whispers, "You can't do this," respond, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." When fear says, "It's too late," declare, "My times are in His hands." The truth, when spoken in faith, always outruns deception. You must also learn to discern the difference between testing and torment. When heaven tests, it stretches you. When darkness torments, it suffocates you. Testing builds, torment breaks. When God speaks, even correction carries peace. When darkness speaks, even comfort carries unease. That's how you know which voice deserves your attention. There are seasons when silence is holy, but there are also seasons when silence is dangerous, when your spirit must speak before confusion takes root. That's why you can't afford to stay quiet in this moment. you must open your mouth. Even if all you can say is, "I hear you," because confession breaks confusion, and declaration reclaims direction. Right here, right now, type "speak." Lord. Just 2 words, but when you say them, you're doing something powerful. You're inviting heaven to take the microphone back from the noise. You're saying, "I choose divine frequency over worldly static." It's not just a comment, it's an act of surrender. It's you turning down the volume of chaos and tuning your spirit back to the sound of peace. Every time you let heaven's voice be louder, the noise begins to lose its grip. The whispers that once confused you start to fade. Your mind clears, your heart steadies, and direction returns. Heaven doesn't shout to compete, it whispers to invite. When you quiet everything else, that whisper becomes unmistakable. You've spent so long trying to discern which way to go, but the answer has been waiting behind the noise. Heaven's voice is steady, unwavering, and pure. It calls you by name, not by failure. It reminds you of destiny when others try to define you by mistakes. That's how you know it's divine. It always points you forward, never backward. Beloved, it's time to separate signal from static. The world will always have opinions, but none of them outweigh revelation. People may not understand your calling, but they were never supposed to. This journey was tailor-made for your feet, and the map is written in the language of faith. Don't let another voice rewrite what heaven has already confirmed. Heaven is clearing the frequency around you, even now. The more you choose silence before the right voice, the clearer your steps will become. Soon, you'll walk in confidence again, not because everything makes sense, but because you know who's leading. So when the noise rises again, and it will remember this, the voice that brings peace, not pressure, is the one to follow. The voice that builds, not breaks, is the one to trust. And the voice that calls you mine, even when you stumble, that is the voice of heaven. Guard your mind, shield your ears, and keep your spirit tuned to that holy frequency. The whispers will come, but now you know the difference. Truth will always recognize its own chosen one. The cost of delay is invisible. At first, it doesn't announce itself with thunder. It creeps in quietly, like dust gathering on an unused instrument. You tell yourself you'll obey tomorrow, that you'll start when you feel ready. But time has its own rhythm, and obedience has an expiration. Every postponed yes allows purpose to fade just a little more. Heaven's call is never cruel. It's gentle but firm, like a hand extended to a drowning soul. Yet when we delay, we choose to tread water instead of being pulled into safety. You've felt it before, that restlessness that comes when you know what heaven asked of you, but keep postponing. You've tried to convince yourself it's not the right time, that you're not qualified, that maybe you misheard. But deep down, you know delay is disobedience in disguise. Beloved, the danger of hesitation is subtle. It tells you there's always another chance, another tomorrow, another moment to make it right. But destiny doesn't wait forever. There are divine windows, moments in time, when heaven opens a gate and says, "Walk through now." If you do, life accelerates. If you don't, the gate closes, and you're left wondering why everything feels harder than before. Heaven is merciful, yes, but it is also precise. God's timing is like the turning of the ocean tide, powerful, rhythmic, and brief. When the wave comes, you must move with it, or it will pass you by. Many have missed the wave because they were too busy debating whether to surf. Don't let fear or comfort rob you of momentum. You may not realize it, but the world around you is waiting for your obedience. There are lives tied to your yes. Your decision to act in faith becomes a bridge for others to cross. Every time you obey, heaven moves through you like wind through a sail, pushing light further into the dark. But when you delay, that wind slows. The flame that was meant to spread begins to shrink. According to what is revealed in the book of Proverbs, chapter 27, verse 1, "Do not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what a day may bring." This is not a threat, it's wisdom wrapped in urgency. Tomorrow is not promised, but purpose is. You hold within you a divine assignment that can only be completed in time's fragile window. The moment you say later, the moment you hesitate, something in the unseen begins to fade. Heaven's timing is not about pressure, it's about precision. Think of your calling as a seed. Seeds cannot stay underground forever. They must either sprout or die. And just as soil cracks to make way for life, obedience cracks comfort to make room for destiny. The longer you wait, the harder the soil becomes. But the moment you act, the ground breaks open, and what was buried begins to bloom. Chosen one, don't wait for ideal conditions. Faith rarely feels convenient. The people heaven uses most are not the ready ones, they are the willing ones. The miracle begins when movement does. Step out, even trembling, even unsure, and watch how the ground steadies beneath your feet. If these words reach the deepest part of your spirit, let your response also carry weight, like wind spreading fragrance. Let your obedience ripple outward. Share this message not to gain attention, but to awaken others who are standing at the same door you once hesitated before. You never know who needs the push you're receiving now. And as you do, remember that this voice, these words, this message exist because others chose to keep the flame burning. If you've felt nourished here, consider giving back. Your support is like water poured onto soil that's producing life. It allows this light to travel further, reaching those trapped in delay, reminding them of heaven's timing. Every like, every share, every act of generosity becomes part of the echo. When you support, you're not fueling a platform, you're sustaining a ministry of moments. Divine interruptions that reach souls before it's too late. You become part of the wave instead of just watching it move. If you've ever stood at the edge of obedience and felt fear whisper, remember, this hesitation feels safe only until you realize how much it costs. It costs peace, clarity, and sometimes entire seasons of blessing. Heaven is patient, but it is also purposeful. You can't keep saying later to what was meant for now. So, chosen one, breathe deeply and take the step. Make the call. Write the words. Forgive the person. Start the thing heaven placed in your heart. Don't let the perfection of the plan stop you from beginning. The seed doesn't wait for perfect soil, it just reaches for light. Time is sacred currency. Spend it on obedience, not on hesitation. What you give in faith today multiplies in eternity. What you delay in fear often dissolves in regret. You've been equipped, you've been warned, and you've been reminded heaven's timing is now. And as you walk forward, know that heaven rejoices not when you succeed perfectly, but when you simply move faithfully, because obedience, no matter how small, always carries eternal weight. The tide is rising again. Don't stand still, step in. Chosen one. The fire you've walked through was not meant to consume you, it was meant to refine you. Every hardship, every loss, every heartbreak you've endured was not a sign of heaven's absence, but of heaven's investment. The refining fire is the mark of those destined for greater weight, greater clarity, greater purpose. It is the sacred process that separates the precious from the perishable. You did not walk through the flames in vain. Every moment that felt unbearable was shaping something within you: purity, resilience, and wisdom that cannot be learned in comfort. Fire reveals what words cannot teach. It burns away illusion, pride, and dependency on things that were never meant to sustain you. It strips you bare until only what's eternal remains. There were times you thought the fire was punishment. You asked, "Why me?" You cried for mercy when the heat intensified, not realizing that you were being prepared for something holy. The fire was not against you, it was for you. Heaven trusted you enough to allow the process. Those who are chosen are never spared from fire. They are refined by it. You see, gold does not fear the furnace because it knows the fire cannot destroy it. It can only reveal its worth. You are heaven's gold. The flames were not your enemy. They were your mirror. They showed you who you truly are beneath the layers of fear and doubt. When everything you leaned on melted away, what remained was unshakable faith. Every tear that fell in that fire became oil for your future anointing. Every sleepless night turned into intercession. Every loss became fertilizer for growth. The refining fire transformed your pain into purpose. You have been purified not just for your sake, but for those you are called to reach. Your testimony will carry power because it was forged in authenticity. The prophet Zechariah wrote of such a season in the book bearing his name, chapter 13, verse 9, "I will put this third through the fire. I will refine them as silver is refined, and test them as gold is tested. They will call on my name, and I will answer them. I will say, 'They are my people.' And they will say, 'The Lord is my God.'" Amda. This verse was never theory, it has been your reality. You were that remnant, placed in the furnace not to perish but to shine. Every time you cried out in the midst of pain, heaven heard. The silence you mistook for abandonment was actually divine attention. God was watching closely, waiting for the moment when you would emerge, not broken, but brighter. The refining fire is never pleasant, but it is always precise. It targets what cannot enter the next season. It burns away bitterness, self-pity, and dependency on approval. You cannot carry those things into destiny. They are too heavy for holy ground. The fire lightens you so you can ascend. And though the process hurt, notice what survived. Your faith endured. Your love deepened. Your compassion widened. The fire that tried to isolate you actually connected you more deeply to humanity. Because once you've burned, you recognize others' flames. You understand their pain, and you carry oil for their wounds. This is the hidden blessing of the refining fire. It births empathy. Those who've never been scorched often judge too quickly. But you, chosen one, have walked through ashes and learned tenderness. You don't just quote promises, you embody them. You don't just preach faith, you carry it in your scars. What you once called loss, heaven calls shaping. You had to lose what was temporary to gain what was eternal. You had to feel the burn to discover the power within you that can withstand it. And though others only see the glow now, heaven saw every stage of your refinement, the trembling, the tears, the prayers that ended in silence. None of it was wasted. The refining fire has also changed how you see yourself. You no longer measure strength by success, but by surrender. You no longer seek validation from noise, but from peace. You've learned that holiness is not perfection, it's perseverance. That grace is not an escape, it's endurance clothed in gentleness. You may still see the remnants of smoke around your life, but that's only because you've come through something few could survive. The residue of fire is proof that heaven trusted you with transformation. You've been sealed, strengthened, and set apart. The fire that once terrified you has become your testimony. Now, when storms rise and flames threaten again, you don't panic, you remember. You've seen this before. You know the outcome. You've been through fire and found the fourth man walking beside you. You've learned that the flames bow to faith. Beloved, never resent the refining. The greater the calling, the hotter the furnace. And if heaven trusted you with fire, it means heaven intends to reveal glory through you. Let that truth comfort you. When the heat returns, it's never to destroy, only to define. You are not fragile. You are forged. And everything that remains after the burning is unshakable. The fire did not change your destiny. It confirmed it. You are proof that even flames serve heaven's purpose. Chosen one. After the fire comes the exchange. Heaven never lets you walk through pain without preparing a reward on the other side. Every tear, every loss, every night you thought you were forgotten, heaven recorded it all. Nothing you've endured is wasted. This is the season where heaven says, "Now, let me give you beauty for ashes." The divine exchange is not only a transaction, it's transformation. It's where what was once broken becomes sacred, where what was lost becomes restored. You may not see it yet, but the trade has already begun. The sorrow that once drained you is now becoming strength. The silence that once frightened you is now birthing wisdom. The people who left you were simply being cleared out, so new covenant connections could arrive. Heaven is the great restorer. It never takes without the intention to give back multiplied. What you gave up in obedience will return in abundance. The time you thought was wasted will come back as divine acceleration. Every moment you spent in pain becomes seed planted in eternity, ready to bloom when the season shifts. But here's the mystery. The exchange doesn't begin when everything gets better. It begins the moment you release control. You cannot receive while clinging to what's been. Heaven's hands are open, but they cannot fill hands that are still holding yesterday. Let go. Release it all, the regret, the bitterness, the what-ifs. The moment you release, restoration starts moving toward you. It was proclaimed in the second book of Corinthians, chapter 5, verse 17. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. Old things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. This isn't a poetic phrase, it's the law of renewal. Heaven specializes in transformation so complete that your past no longer recognizes you. The pain that once defined you becomes the platform that refines you. What was meant to break you becomes the very proof of God's rebuilding power. You've been shedding old skins, old identities, old narratives that no longer fit the person you're becoming. You can feel the shift even now, the weight lifting, the clarity returning, the peace settling where confusion used to live. That's not imagination, it's heaven rearranging the pieces. The exchange is active. The divine trade has begun. Heaven says, I will take your heaviness and give you joy. I will take your fear and replace it with faith. I will take the ashes of what burned and form them into crowns of beauty. That is not metaphor, it's manifestation. You are not being patched up, you are being made new. Beloved, when heaven restores, it never gives back the same thing, it gives back better. Job lost everything and received double. Joseph was thrown into a pit, but rose to rule over nations. Even the cross itself was an exchange, the greatest one of all. Death traded for resurrection. Sorrow exchanged for salvation. That same pattern flows through your life. What you've lost will not return in the same form, but it will return with greater purpose. And right now, as you read these words, heaven is writing a reversal. The areas where you've suffered most are about to become the areas of your greatest authority. The same pain that silenced you will become the message that frees others. The same lack that humbled you will teach you to steward abundance. You are being entrusted with redemption's blueprint. But heaven requires one small sign from you, an act of faith that says, I'm ready to receive the exchange. Right now, type 1111 inches, the comments, not as superstition, but as symbolism. 1111 has long been a sign of divine alignment, a reminder that heaven's order is being restored. When you type it, you're declaring, I release the old, I receive the new. It's your way of stepping into agreement with restoration's rhythm. You may not understand how everything will unfold, but faith doesn't wait for explanations, it responds to revelation. And the revelation is this: heaven owes you nothing, but intends to give you everything grace can afford. Your release opens the vault. Your surrender opens the heavens. Let this truth sink deep. Heaven is not just returning what was taken, it's redeeming what was wasted. The years you thought were lost are being rewritten. The tears that fell in pain are being transformed into prophetic rain. What once hurt you will soon help you. What once weakened you will now weaponize you against darkness. Chosen one. This is your divine exchange, the moment when heaven gives back more than you can contain. But it starts with faith. Small but sincere. Release the old story. Say yes to the new one. The ashes you've carried were never meant to be souvenirs. They were meant to be offerings. You are not the same person who entered the fire. You are brighter, wiser, freer. And heaven looks upon you now not with pity, but with pride, saying, they made it. Now watch me rebuild. So breathe deeply, lift your head, and let restoration find you. The divine exchange is here. The trade is already happening. Heaven has never forgotten your pain, and now it will not forget your promise. Chosen one. Something is stirring across the earth, a quiet awakening that does not make headlines, but shakes the heavens. The chosen ones are rising. They are not loud, not seeking applause, not chasing titles. They move in silence, guided by divine fire. You are part of that remnant, the ones heaven has kept hidden until the appointed time. For years, You felt the tension of being misunderstood. You tried to fit in, but your spirit resisted conformity. You carried convictions that made others uncomfortable, dreams that seemed too heavy for your shoulders. That was never accidental. Heaven was setting you apart for a reason. You were being prepared to carry a light that others would one day follow. The rise of the remnant is not about popularity, it's about purity. Heaven doesn't choose based on perfection, but on willingness. Those who say yes in private are the ones heaven promotes in public. You've been through the process, through pain and pruning. And now the call grows louder. Stand, not with arrogance, but with authority. Not to dominate, but to illuminate. There's a movement happening in the unseen realm, a convergence of hearts that burn for truth. You may not know their names, but you will recognize their presence. They walk into rooms and shift atmospheres. They speak softly, yet carry power. Their prayers pierce darkness because they were born out of warfare. Heaven calls them the remnant, a people who refused to compromise when the world demanded surrender. The Spirit spoke through the prophet Joel. Chapter 2, verse 28. And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my Spirit on all flesh. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your old men shall dream dreams. Your young men shall see visions. You've wondered why your path felt lonelier than others. It's because the remnant walk narrow roads. Wide paths are for crowds, but narrow ones are for carriers. When heaven selects you, it often isolates you first. That loneliness was not rejection, it was consecration. The separation was shaping. Heaven had to remove certain influences, silence certain voices, and refine your discernment so that when the true call came, you would recognize it instantly. Look around, something is changing in the atmosphere. You can feel it when you pray. The air feels charged, as if heaven's breath is closer than before. That's the sign of awakening. The remnant are aligning, their lights flickering into flame. What began as isolated sparks will soon become a wildfire of faith that no system can contain. But make no mistake, rising as the remnant carries responsibility. The world may not applaud, but heaven watches closely. You are not rising for recognition, you are rising for restoration. You are heaven's answer to despair, the living proof that light still wins. Every act of love, every moment of truth spoken, every prayer whispered in the dark, it all counts. It all builds. It all matters. The remnant are reformers, not rebels. They don't destroy, they rebuild. They don't condemn, they call forth. They carry both sword and balm truth to cut deception and compassion to heal the wounds left behind. You, beloved, are one of them. You've been entrusted with influence that can't be measured by numbers, but by impact. You don't need a platform. Your presence itself is an altar. Remember, remnant doesn't mean small, it means steadfast. It means chosen ones who refuse to bow to comfort, who stand even when the world bends. Their power lies not in quantity, but in quality of devotion. One remnant heart, fully surrendered, can shift an entire generation. There's a reason your life has been marked by battles others never faced. Heaven invests its fiercest testing in its most trusted warriors. You carry spiritual DNA that hell cannot decode. That's why the warfare was so intense. Darkness fights hardest against what it fears most. But what darkness doesn't realize is that every attack only trained you to wield light with more precision. Now, as the remnant rises, so does revelation. You're beginning to see why you went through what you did. You're recognizing that your scars are not symbols of defeat, they are credentials of authority. The very places you bled are the places you now heal others. The very chains you broke are the ones you now carry keys for. Heaven is assembling its army of light. Not in stadiums, but in secret rooms. The intercessors, the prophets, the quiet worshippers they are gathering, and though they look ordinary, the heavens know their names. Their alignment will shift nations. Their obedience will alter timelines. Their faith will spark revival where none was thought possible. You are not alone in this awakening. Across the earth, chosen hearts are stirring. Heaven is connecting threads of destiny, weaving together a tapestry of fire and faith. You were not meant to stand apart forever. You were meant to stand together. And soon, when the sound of heaven's trumpet fills the air, the remnant will rise as one. So, stand tall, flame bearer. You have survived the breaking, and now you carry the rebuilding. Heaven calls your name, not as a servant trembling in fear, but as a warrior clothed in light. You are part of the remnant, the living prophecy of hope. Chosen one. There is a quiet majesty that surrounds you now. Though you may not yet perceive it, you have been crowned in the midst of battle, anointed not after the storm, but within it. The crown you bear is invisible to the world, but radiant in the eyes of heaven. It gleams with the luster of endurance, each facet carved by nights of prayer, by days of faith that refused to break beneath the weight of fear. The crown was not handed to you in celebration, it was forged in the fires you once begged to escape. It was shaped by surrender, tempered by loss, and sealed by resilience. Every scar, every unanswered prayer, every wound you thought disqualified you has instead become part of its design. You were not simply delivered through the battle, you were transformed within it. This is the paradox of divine royalty. Heaven crowns those who bow. In a world that worships victory, heaven honors endurance. You were crowned when you chose forgiveness over vengeance, when you spoke peace into chaos, when you kept believing though your hope trembled. The crown is proof that faith prevailed, that your spirit endured even when your heart broke. Look around at your life, the ashes, the memories, the remnants of old wars. Can you see it now? The crown glows even in the ruins. The weight you feel pressing on your soul is not burden, it is glory settling upon you. Heaven never crowns without purpose. Every trial that tried to bury you has become part of the foundation of your authority. The Apostles' words echo through the centuries in the letter of James. Chapter 1, verse 12. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him. You've wondered why the warfare never seemed to stop, why peace often felt temporary. It's because kings and queens are not forged in stillness, they are molded in movement. Every new challenge stretched your capacity, teaching you how to carry weight without crumbling. The strength you possess now is not the kind that demands attention, it's the kind that quietly shapes atmospheres. The crown you carry is not just a symbol, it's an assignment. It carries with it the responsibility to lead with compassion, to rule your emotions with wisdom, and to use your words as instruments of healing. The crown does not make you untouchable, It makes you accountable. The higher heaven raises you, the softer your heart must remain. There is a sacred irony in divine promotion. The moment you are crowned, the world may not notice. There are no parades, no applause, only stillness. But heaven's recognition is far greater than earthly noise. The realm of spirit now responds to you differently. Your prayers carry new authority. Your words carry weight. The same angels that once guarded you now move at your command. Because you have proven faithful in obscurity. You may still feel the ache of battle. The memories may still flicker like smoke. That is because glory and grief often coexist. Even victory bears the fragrance of what was lost. But that pain is holy. It reminds you of the cost of your crown. It keeps pride from infecting purpose. You can wear power safely now because you know what powerlessness feels like. Do not despise your scars. They are the jewels on your crown. Each one tells a story of grace triumphant, of mercy renewed, of love stronger than loss. When you touch them, remember, this is where heaven met you, where transformation began. The enemy tried to scar you with shame, but heaven turned those marks into medals. And though the battle continues, it no longer defines you. You walk differently now, not as one seeking victory, but as one who already carries it. You understand that true triumph is not the absence of struggle, but the refusal to surrender your faith within it. You have learned to fight without hatred, to stand without fear, to love without limit. That is royal posture, the stance of one crowned by heaven. The season ahead will reveal what the crown means. You will walk into spaces where peace is needed, and simply by being there, the atmosphere will shift. You will speak words that break invisible chains because you carry the tone of one who has overcome. You will not need to prove your authority. The light within you will speak louder than your name. Remember this, the crown you wear was never meant to elevate you above others, but to serve as a reminder that you survived what was meant to destroy you. It is a seal between you and heaven, a silent agreement that says, I will use what I endured to heal what others are enduring. Walk with dignity, not pride. Rule with tenderness, not tyranny. For the greatest crowns are those that gleam with humility. And every time you bow in gratitude, your crown shines brighter. You are crowned, chosen one, not someday now, chosen one. When the battle has crowned you, heaven gives one more command: stand firm. Not stand tall in pride, but firm in faith. You've climbed the mountain of fire, crossed the valleys of tears, and now the view before you is vast. Yet this is where the real test begins. Standing firm is not about defense, it's about devotion. It is the art of remaining rooted when the winds of distraction and doubt try to sway you. Standing firm means protecting the peace you fought to gain. The world will still try to pull you back into old habits, familiar fears, the opinions of those who never saw your process. But you, beloved, have been remade. You can't go back to small thinking after touching divine truth. You can't fit back into cages that grace already opened. You've outgrown them. Heaven is teaching you stability, not the stillness of inaction, but the calm of conviction. The ground beneath you may shift, but your foundation is unmovable because it's built on promise, not performance. Faith is your anchor, peace your armor, and truth your compass. You stand not by might, but by memory, the remembrance of every miracle that carried you here. There's beauty in stillness, but it's a stillness that breathes strength, not stagnation. Think of a tree planted by the river. Storms may bend its branches, but its roots drink deeply from unseen waters. You are that tree now, rooted in revelation. The deeper your roots in heaven's soil, the less you fear earthly winds. Heaven speaks through the writings of Paul to the Ephesians, chapter 6, verse 13. Therefore, put on the full armor of God, so that when the day of evil comes, you may be able to stand your ground, and after you have done everything, to stand. These words are not ancient, they're alive in you. Standing doesn't mean nothing is happening, it means everything is holding. You've been through seasons of motion, but now comes maturity. This is where you protect what you've built. The enemy cannot steal your light anymore, so he tries to shake your focus. But the one who has learned to stand can outlast any storm. Standing firm doesn't mean standing alone. The body of faith thrives when each light strengthens another. When you share, when you speak, when you testify, you are building bridges between torches. Think of this message as one small spark in a vast field of hearts. When you pass it forward, the darkness loses ground. So, if this message has settled into your spirit like a seed in fertile ground, let your action water it. Like the tide returning to shore, your engagement brings life back to the Word. Share this message with someone who's fighting to stand again. You never know how one act of obedience can shift someone else's entire atmosphere. Your support, your likes, your comments, your generosity is more than digital interaction. It's partnership with purpose. Every time you give, you're adding oil to the flame, ensuring that the light continues to reach those who are still lost in shadow. Imagine it like building a lighthouse together, stone by stone, act by act. The brightness you experience here becomes the same brightness guiding another soul home. If you've ever felt this voice strengthen you in a weary season, consider helping it reach another who feels unseen. Your contribution, no matter the size, becomes divine currency, grace multiplied. Heaven watches how we sustain what sustains us. It's the cycle of light we receive. We reflect. We restore. Comment below with your reflection, a single line of gratitude, a short prayer, a phrase of strength. Let your words join this altar of testimony. When you speak life, the atmosphere listens. Someone scrolling through may find hope in your sentence, the very hope that once found you. This is how faith multiplies through voices, through echoes, through unity. And when you share, when you give, do it quietly, like sowing a seed at dawn. The reward is not applause, but expansion. The light you've encountered here can travel further than you imagine, into homes you'll never visit, into hearts you'll never meet. That is how heaven builds revival now, not in temples of stone, but through messages of flame carried by willing souls. Beloved, to stand firm is to keep glowing, even in weariness, even in uncertainty. Let your light remain. You may feel small in a world of noise, but remember, stars look small too, yet they guide entire oceans. So keep shining, keep sharing, keep believing that your small consistency carries eternal significance. Heaven smiles on those who sustain the fire, and as long as you stand, others will find their footing through your steadiness. That is the silent miracle of obedience. It doesn't just change you, it changes everyone watching. You have done the hardest part, survived. Now comes the holiest remain. Chosen one. There comes a sacred turning point in every story, the moment when what was meant for destruction becomes the very doorway to destiny. You have reached that place. The winds that once opposed you are now beginning to carry you forward. The storms that tried to drown you are the same ones propelling your ship toward promise. This is the great reversal, the moment when heaven rewrites what hell tried to steal. Everything that was meant to break you is now becoming the foundation beneath your feet. What the enemy used for harm, heaven has repurposed for healing. The betrayal, the rejection, the disappointment, all of it has become raw material in the hands of grace. The potter never wastes broken clay. He reshapes it into something even stronger. Something that reflects his image more clearly than before. This is not poetic comfort, it is spiritual law. When you belong to heaven, even your defeats are placed under divine authority. Nothing escapes redemption. Every setback was secretly a setup. Every closed door was a redirection towards something far greater than your understanding. Heaven's mathematics are unlike the world's. Loss multiplied by faith always equals increase. You can sense it now. Can't you? The atmosphere feels different. The heaviness that clung to you is starting to lift. The air around your spirit is clearing, making room for renewal. You are stepping into the aftermath of grace, the place where ashes turn to beauty, where sorrow gives way to song, as was recorded in the book of Genesis, chapter 50, verse 20. You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good, to bring about that many people should be kept alive, as they are today. These words were first spoken by Joseph, but they echo through eternity to find you now, like him. You were betrayed by those who didn't see your purpose. Like him, you were confined in places that looked like endings. But those prisons became classrooms. Those pits became altars. And now, the chains that once limited you have become proof of your authority. The great reversal is not only happening to you, it is happening through you. Heaven is using your restoration as a living testimony. The people who once questioned your survival will witness your resurgence. The very places that once held your pain will become platforms for your power. You are walking evidence that no weapon formed against light can prosper when that light refuses to go out. This reversal is quiet, not dramatic. Heaven rarely announces promotion with noise. It happens subtly, an inner peace, a new clarity. Doors opening where once there were walls. The shift is both gentle and unstoppable, like dawn overtaking the night. One day, you simply realize the weight has fallen off your shoulders, and the path ahead feels wider than before. Don't rush to explain this shift to others. Some will not understand it, for they did not witness the depth of what you endured. The great reversal is sacred, its details belong to heaven. Simply walk in it. Let your restored calm speak louder than your explanations. People will see the difference without you needing to defend it. There's beauty in divine reversals. They rarely return what was lost in the same form. Heaven doesn't restore by duplication, it restores by elevation. You may not get back the same relationships, the same opportunities, the same dreams, but you will receive something purer, safer, holier. The exchange is always better than the original because it's been touched by grace. The reversal also changes how you see others. Those who hurt you are no longer threats, they become teachers. Their actions, though painful, drove you toward your purpose. Forgiveness is no longer difficult because you see the hand of heaven even in betrayal. You understand now that nothing was wasted, not even the tears you thought disappeared into darkness. Every drop watered the soil of your new beginning. Beloved, this is the stage of your story where gratitude begins to bloom. You start to thank heaven not only for what came, but also for what didn't. The unanswered prayers that once frustrated you now look like protection. The seasons of waiting now reveal themselves as preparation. You begin to see that what delayed you was saving you. This is redemption in its purest form, not the erasure of pain, but the transformation of it. Redemption means looking back and realizing that even the chaos was choreography. The pieces you thought were scattered were actually being arranged. Heaven has been playing the long game, turning every wrong note into part of a larger harmony. Now, walk with quiet confidence. You are not defined by what was done to you, but by what was built within you. The reversal is your new reality. The battle no longer defines you, it decorates you. The ashes no longer cover you, they crown you. And as you move forward, heaven's justice walks with you, ensuring that what you lost returns in ways beyond imagination. Chosen one. The great reversal is not just a season, it's a state of being. It means living daily with the awareness that grace wins. Always. It means waking each morning knowing that heaven can still turn every curse into a blessing. It means carrying peace that cannot be stolen because it no longer depends on circumstance. You are walking proof of the reversal. You are heaven's echo of victory. And the same grace that turned your night into morning will keep you shining long after the darkness forgets your name. Chosen one. This is the final stretch of the message, the point where heaven stands once more at the door of your heart, knocking softly but firmly, not with thunder this time, but with tenderness. This is heaven's last attempt, not because its love is ending, but because the time for hesitation has. The gates of mercy are open wide, yet they will not stay open forever. What you do with what you've heard will echo through eternity. You have walked a long road to reach this moment. You've known the silence, the fire, the refining, and the restoration. You have fallen and risen, doubted and believed, broken and healed. Each chapter of your story was written with divine precision, each trial carved with purpose. And now, heaven leans in one last time, whispering what it has been trying to tell you all along. You were never alone. You were never abandoned. You were always chosen. This is the moment when heaven's invitation becomes decision. Not a dramatic choice shouted into the air, but the quiet one, the kind made deep inside the soul, where eternity listens. You can feel it, can't you? The weight of it. The air feels sacred, like creation itself is holding its breath, waiting to see what you will do. You are standing between two paths, the one that leads back into the familiar numbness of resistance, and the one that leads into the unknown light of surrender. Heaven will not force you either way. Love never manipulates. It simply waits. Yet even love knows when waiting must end. The line has been drawn in spirit, not to condemn, but to clarify. The ancient words from the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 30, verse 19. Come alive again tonight. I have set before you life and death, blessings and curses. Now choose life, so that you and your descendants may live. This is heaven's plea wrapped in mercy. Choose life, not merely existence, but the kind of life that breathes meaning into every moment. The kind that makes peace with the past, purpose in the present, and hope for the future. The kind of life that refuses to drift any longer in circles of distraction and despair. You may think choosing life means perfection, but it doesn't. It means presence. It means deciding that even in weakness, you will keep returning to truth. It means no longer fighting against the pull of grace, no longer numbing the ache for something greater. Choosing life is not about worthiness, it's about willingness. It's not about what you've done, it's about what you're ready to become. Heaven knows your hesitation. It knows the fatigue, the disappointment, the fear of hope itself. But heaven also knows what lies dormant within you, the fire waiting to reignite, the purpose waiting to unfold. The voice of God has never been far from you. It has followed you through every season, through every sin and sorrow, through every moment you thought you'd lost your way. The very fact that you are here, reading these words, is proof that heaven has not given up. You've been through too much to turn back now. The warfare wasn't random, it was recognition. Darkness doesn't fight the uncalled, it fights the chosen. You were marked long before you were misunderstood. The chaos that surrounded your life wasn't punishment, it was confirmation. The storm was heaven's way of proving that your foundation could withstand anything. And now, chosen one, heaven asks only this: remember who you are. Remember what was spoken over you before fear had a name. Remember that your light was never fragile, it only flickered when you tried to hide it. The power that raised you before will raise you again. The grace that found you once will keep finding you until you finally rest in its arms. You are not beyond redemption. You are not too late. The door is still open, but it will not stay open forever. The world is growing darker, but your calling is to burn brighter. The time for questioning has passed. The time for awakening is here. Every sign, every stirring, every word has led to this heaven trying one more time. If you listen closely, you'll hear it, the heartbeat of heaven synchronizing with your own. That steady rhythm whispering, "Come home. The fight is over." You don't have to prove anything anymore. You don't have to carry what was never yours to hold. Lay it down. Let peace pick it up. Heaven's love is fierce, but it is also final. This is not manipulation, it is mercy reaching its last extension before the curtain of grace draws to a close for this season. What you do with this moment will determine what the next one holds. Stand still. Breathe deeply. Let the truth settle like light in your chest. Heaven has come one more time, not to threaten you, but to rescue you. Not to demand, but to deliver. And as you let that realization sink in, remember, this is not the end. It's the beginning that waits on the other side of surrender. The heavens are watching. The angels are silent. The Creator waits. What will your answer be? Chosen one. If these words have reached you, it's not coincidence, it's alignment. Somewhere between heaven's whisper and your willingness to listen, a bridge was built. You've walked through revelation, through correction, through promise. And now you stand in the quiet after the storm. This silence is not empty, it's sacred. It's the pause where your spirit exhales, where understanding settles like morning light after a long night. You have felt heaven's pull in these messages, haven't you? That unmistakable stirring that says, "This was for me." When heaven sends words like these, it's because someone's heart is ready, ready to awaken, to rise, to believe again. If that someone is you, then let this not be where it ends, but where it begins. Share this message if it touched you, not for numbers, but for nourishment. There's someone scrolling right now, lost in silence, needing to hear what you just heard. Your act of sharing could be the moment heaven finds them. Comment below, let your words become part of this altar of faith. Tell us what stirred within you. What truth found its mark? Someone else may read your comment and realize they are not alone. And if your spirit feels connected to this flow, stay close, subscribe, follow. Remain part of this circle where divine reminders keep finding those who are ready. Every click, every share, every seed of support keeps this flame burning brighter. You are not just a listener, you are a light bearer. Together, we make heaven's whisper louder than the world's noise. So breathe. Chosen one, smile softly. You've made it through the message heaven sent one more time, and somehow, you're not the same as when you began. Carry that light forward.